And you're watching Sporting Icons.
Right, so it's that time of month again where I will respond to a Q&A. And this is for the channel members. This is part of our agreement for all channel members that I'll do a Q&A. So any questions that channel members have, I will do a video to respond. Now these guys will answer or ask the questions in a channel membership community post. So again, this is one of the perks that these guys get. Along with at the beginning of every video, you guys will see the scroll. They get the name on the opening credits or sometimes at the end of the video, but depends. Either way, they will be in the video somewhere. And many other perks. You get emojis, stickers, and all these kind of things for the comment sections, for the live chats, and there's so many different things that they get. And the advanced members as well get to listen in on some interviews before anybody else in that as well. So if anybody's interested in becoming a channel member, there's a link in the description box in there. Give it a click, open it up, have like a little read of it, and if you like it, join. Choose whichever level that you want, and you're very welcome to join on in. If not, hey, cool, no worries, nothing will change for everyone else. Now this is one of the perks that these guys get, the Q&A, and we're going to start off with Blackout. Claressa Shields versus Laila Ali. Is it worth 10 million? Is it worth 10 million? I mean, that depends. I mean, I know where it comes from. It comes from Laila Ali. Now, she's the daughter of the late, great Muhammad Ali. She retired some time ago, undefeated, and many will call her the greatest woman of all time in boxing. Now, is that a tag based on the fact of her father is deemed as the greatest of all time? Or is it a case of her achievements as a professional fighter? Again, a lot of it is subjective, of course. But she said that Claressa Shields, she's not as good as what she claims to be, and she would beat Claressa Shields. Not only that, she would knock out Claressa Shields as well. But in order for a fight, for that to happen, Laila Ali, she's got to put all her businesses, etc., on the back burner. She's a very successful businesswoman. So she's got to put that on the back burner, spend time away from her husband, her kids, and all that kind of thing, go into camp, lose the amount of weight that she needs to lose to get back in there. And at the age of 42, it's no easy feat. But she may be tempted if Claressa Shields or somebody was to offer her between $5 and $10 million. Now, this will be dependent entirely on whether or not they can generate those kind of numbers. In my opinion, I don't think so. Very few men can make that kind of money. And let's be honest, women's boxing is not as popular as men. Contrary to what Claressa Shields wants you to believe, where she says that women should get equal pay to men. Now, yes, she's absolutely correct. Women should get equal pay to men. But men get paid based on what they bring to the fight night, based on their sponsorships, based on their profile, all that kind of thing. Can they sell out an arena, a stadium, a pay-per-view, all that kind of thing. So if a woman can do that, then yeah, of course, she can get paid exactly the same as any man. And for me, I'm not into the whole women should get paid less than a man even if she brings in more. No, you should get paid to what your value is. It's a numbers game, isn't it? But will this fight generate 10 million? In my opinion, no. I don't think women's boxing is as popular as maybe it could be or even will be. But with all the women fighters going on nowadays, it could well get there. And I hope that it does. I really hope that it does. But right now, Laila Ali versus Claressa Shields, no. Based on the fact that I think Claressa Shields, she's going to be the hot favourite in that fight due to her youth and the fact that she's active and Laila Ali is not. So would this fight generate 10 million? No. But don't be surprised if somebody somewhere comes up with a figure and is quite happy to make a loss on it for that fight to happen. So anyway, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Blackout also asks this. What do you think of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry leaving the royal family? Now, I haven't looked into it too much. I'm not really like a royalist or anything like that. I'm not anti-royalist or anything like that. But at the end of the day, if Prince Harry is upset about it, because whatever's going on behind the scenes, I have no idea. Is it a case of the royal family don't really warm to Meghan? Maybe she and Prince Harry feel that they're not really welcome. Is it a racial thing? I have no idea. But I think that if he's really genuinely upset about it, at the end of the day, she's your wife. Okay, and you should always take the side of your wife. If your wife is feeling down, then you need to do whatever's going to make her happy. But hopefully they'll work out some kind of agreement with them. For me, I've always liked Prince Harry. I think Harry, he's kind of like the rogue of the royal family, where he's quite opinionated at times, but he's a very likable guy. Much like his brother William, and that is as well. And I think that if he's happy to do so and to give up his prince status, hey, go for it. And it's not the first time this has happened in the royal family. Many years ago, prior to World War II, it happened there, didn't it? You've all seen the movie The King's Speech. Go give it a watch if you haven't. So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm cool with it. I really am. Especially if the royal family are being a little bit racist towards Meghan, then yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That would be pretty disgusting if they are. But anyway, not accusing because I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much to Blackout. Big up to you for being a channel member. Good questions as well. Ryan Bruce, how are you doing, my friend? Hope you're good. Do you think Frank Warren will be at February 22nd Wilder vs Fury show? Yeah, I do. Unless, of course, he's got a show going on himself on February 22nd, which I don't believe he has. But I'm pretty sure he hasn't. So, if not, yes, he'll be there. I mean, he was there for the first one, so I fully imagine he'll be there for the second one. And, of course, he'd love nothing more than Tyson Fury to win. And he gets in there holding that belt with Tyson Fury, celebrating in the face of Shelley Finkel. It's more about bragging rights than that, I suppose. And Frank Warren, for him to have a world heavyweight champion on his roster, even though technically Tyson Fury is a ESPN top rank fighter, he's not really a BT Sport Queensbury Promotions fighter as such, because he's based out there in America, and Frank Warren seems to have little to no say in who it is that he fights and where he fights. He just gets like a little slice of the pie at the end of it. But yeah, I think Frank Warren will be at the show. The Boxing Icons, as I said before, cool name. I wonder where you got that from. Anyway, I hope you're good, my man. Do you think we will ever see Wilder versus AJ or Fury versus AJ for a unification? Yeah, I do think that we will see it. For Undisputed, I don't know, because there is like a lot of boxing politics going on at the minute with the sanctioning bodies. And this is part and parcel when you become a unified heavyweight champion, or just unified champion of any weight division. You're going to have mandatory stack up one after the other, after the other, after the other. And at some point, while there's a good chance that some of the sanctioning bodies will say, yes, if there's Undisputed or unification, you go for it. Of course, we'll postpone our mandatory situation. But they don't have to, and that's a bit of a myth where people say that unification trumps mandatory. It actually doesn't. It's all down to the discretion of the sanctioning body. They can overrule it. The IBF have overruled it quite a few times, and so have the WBA. And actually the WBO have as well. Most recently with Joseph Parker, after he defeated Andy Ruiz Jr. and he was ordered to fight Hughie Fury. And he said, well, can't I go unify with Anthony Joshua or Wilder? And they said no. So again, it is a bit of a myth. But yeah, I think we will see them. I think AJ, not this year. I don't think we'll see it this year. I mean, it'd be great if we do, but I don't think we will. Because I think that the winner of Wilder and Fury, they'll activate a rematch and end up rematching towards the end of the year. Then whoever wins that one is then going to have to go fight Dillian White. Then after then, potentially, as long as AJ, if he's still got the belts, then yeah, why not? I think that we will see it. I think we're more likely to see AJ versus Fury than we are AJ versus Wilder. I don't think Wilder wants any of that kind of work. Honestly, I don't. And even if he does, I don't think his team does. I mean, his team talked him out of $100 million. I mean, come on now. So for me, my prediction is that whoever wins on February 22nd between Wilder and Fury doesn't really matter. It's who wins the fight after in September, October time, whenever that's going to be. That's the important one, because whoever wins that one is going to be the one to walk away with the belt. So February 22nd makes no difference, but it could be a making of Deontay Wilder, in the sense of if he was to lose February 22nd, a lot of people will be saying, can he get his belt back? Can he do what Anthony Joshua done in an immediate rematch, become the 5th ever heavyweight to lose his world title and then win it back in an immediate rematch? That would make their third fight at the end of the year massive, absolutely massive. And if he was to get that belt back, again, Wilder versus Joshua becomes from a huge fight to an absolutely global blockbuster in that instance. But either way, for me, yes, I think that we will see it at some point. But personally, as I said before, I think that Fury, whether he wins February 22nd or not, makes no difference. But he'll win the last one for sure. Then he'll go fight Dillian Whyte. Then Fury, first Dillian Whyte winner, will then go fight Joshua for undisputed. But of course, there's so many different things with the mandatories right now with Anthony Joshua. It's really hard to tell whether or not he can keep all the belts, because the belts could be getting fragmented. But anyway, thank you very much, the Boxing Icons. Tony T, big up to you, my man. Do you think everyone in boxing and fans have lost patience with Wilder totally now and don't care anymore and just want him out of boxing? Do you think everyone realises Wilder is the issue in heavyweight boxing, not anyone else? Yeah, I think a lot of people realise that it was Wilder's team or Wilder himself that put a block on Undisputed. He got greedy and was maybe using money as a way to say, I don't actually want the fight with Joshua. I mean, if you turn down $100 million, that will tell you that you don't want the fight when you're earning between a couple of million up to maybe a maximum of 10, maybe 15. If you're turning down $100 million, that will tell you you don't want the fight. And most people recognise that, whether they're a Wilder fan or not. I think most people do realise that, yes, it is Wilder. I mean, his career will show you that. You don't get to over 40-odd fights and people calling you a cherry picker for no reason. So, yeah, I think people do. I think people do. And I do think that he is a little bit psychologically damaged as well. I think a lot of it is down to the fact that he got stopped in the amateurs by Romanov. He got put on his backside by journeyman Harold Skonias in his 13th professional fight. He was out on his feet against Luis Ortiz in round number 7 in their first fight. Tyson Fury nearly had him out of there on 2 points. In their first fight as well. I think it was round number 2 or 3, and then certainly toward the end of round number 12. But I think, in addition to that, with the fact if all these sparring rumours are true with Vladimir Klitschko, I think he's psychologically damaged. And that's not a negative toward him, that's just a human thing. Of course it is. If you get certain things happen to you, you're going to have this little bit of doubt in your mind. The last thing Joshua wants to do, or Wilder wants to do, is go face Anthony Joshua on a huge stage. Everyone's talking about it, everyone's looking at him, and he gets smoothed out. That's the last thing in the world that he wants. So how do you avoid it? Well, you don't take the fight. You don't take the risk. But again, psychologically, everybody has that. Everybody has that little thing of psychological, where you're programmed to do and not do certain things. We all have it. Everyone does it. For example, you see Anthony Joshua sat in a park feeding the pigeons, for example. You could go over there and ask him for his autograph or a selfie or a quick chat and just ask him how he is. You probably feel quite comfortable doing it. Or even if you're like a little bit nervous about doing it, you're quite happy to do that. But again, anybody who just goes up to celebrities and just takes a selfie without asking, don't do that. That's very rude. But if Joshua sat there and there's just like a tiny little post and a piece of rope in front of him, there's a very good chance he would walk up to the rope and not cross the rope. But why? Because it's psychological, isn't it? We're programmed, if there's a piece of rope there, don't cross the piece of rope. It's weird, isn't it? It's very, very weird, but that's how it is. You see a piece of rope, you don't cross it. The big, bad, scary rope. So again, it's all psychological. So going back to Deontay Wilder, there's a psychological block on him where he's afraid. I think he's afraid. He's not necessarily afraid. I mean, if he was to fight Anthony Joshua behind closed doors with nobody watching and no footage, as in no filming, he'd probably take it and money wouldn't even be the problem. But I think he doesn't want to be embarrassed on a big stage by a big puncher like Joshua. But likewise, if he was to hit Joshua, you know what? It could well be lights out for Joshua as well. Anyway, good question, Tony T. H Money, Mr. DAZN, big up to you, my man. Do you think Anthony Joshua versus Usyk will be the biggest fight in the history of the heavyweight division? Anthony Joshua, Olympic gold medalist, 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world, versus Usyk, Olympic gold medalist and the last undisputed champion in boxing, and the only heavyweight currently ranked on the ESPN and Ring Magazine top 10 pound for pound list. It's a huge fight, no doubt about it. As far as profile goes, probably not, based on the fact that while you, me, and of course most people within boxing know who Usyk is, a lot of people don't. And for a fight to be mega, it's the casual audience that you need to appeal to. And Usyk isn't quite yet established as that. Based on the fact that cruiserweight is not a popping division. It never really was. And it's only really the World Boxing Super Series that's kind of brought him to light. Now, here in the UK, he's a big fighter. He's a big name because of the Tony Bellew fight. And, of course, British boxing fans, and, of course, a lot of American fans now as well, but appreciate the fact that Usyk, when he won all of his world titles, he actually went abroad and won them as well. He didn't just sit at home and the champions just came to him. That's not what he did. He actually went out on the road and done all that kind of stuff. So he's very, very appreciated. And we here in the UK, we love the fighters who are talked about as a pound-for-pound fighter. And being undisputed as well, yeah. And at heavyweight, yeah, there's a very realistic chance that he could defeat Anthony Joshua. There's a very realistic chance that Usyk can defeat everybody. But is it the biggest fight? I mean, if you were to compare it to Joshua versus Fury, no, I don't think so. I don't think it is. But certainly a big, big fight. I'm a huge fan of Usyk as well. But as far as the biggest fight in the heavyweight division in history, no, not history, but certainly a mega fight, no doubt about it. And I get a lot of people talking. But in order for that to happen, Usyk needs to be fighting a couple of top contenders at heavyweight. So then the casual audience look and go, ooh, okay, what's he going to do against Joshua? Because at the minute, it's only really the real boxing nuts. I don't really know too much about Usyk. Anyway, good question. Next, Aaron King. If Fury does pull out injured from the Wilder fight, will Dillian be stepping in to replace him? I remember you saying if Wilder pulls out, then White steps in as champ. Just wondering if it works the other way around as a challenger. Good question, Aaron. But of course, due to the time frame, so for example, if Fury was to pull out now, or even Wilder was to pull out right now with only 4 weeks left to go to a fight night, that's not enough notice for Dillian. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that the WBC, being how they are, will probably use that as a reason and an excuse to get Dillian Whyte either beaten or pull him out of the mandatory and interim world champion status. Well, we offered you the fight and you turned it down. Even though it's unfair to offer him that kind of fight at this kind of short notice. But I wouldn't put it past WBC to do it. But as interim world heavyweight champion, yeah, effectively, that's what it is. That means that he is the one that the champion needs to be fighting. Effectively, he's world champion. Look on it as the WBA regular champion. That's pretty much what he is. He's like the regular champion of the WBC. And if Wilder can't make a fight, and as long as there's like enough notice, yeah, Dillian will step in as champion. And then when Deontay Wilder is fit and ready to come back, his first port of call will be to take on Dillian Whyte to regain that world heavyweight title. So, will it go the other way? Will he replace Tyson Fury? Again, yes, he would. But I think that at this kind of short notice, it will be unfair for them to do it. But they could do it. They certainly could do it. So if Dillian Whyte is in no condition to fight, well, I would fully expect the WBC to try and push it, knowing full well that if he does fight, he's going to be in no real condition to be at his best. So he could end up losing to either one of these guys. Or they'll say, oh, well, we give you the opportunity, now you're stripped and kicked out of the rankings. Because let's be honest, WBC, they don't want him there. But yeah, he could replace Fury if there's enough notice. Likewise, he could replace Wilder as champion. And that's the interim status. So yeah. Martin Shim. Hope you're good, my man. Crawford and Spence Jr. only seem to be interested in fighting each other. Neither of them seem interested in going after a fight against Manny Pacquiao. Yet say they're the best out there. What are your views on this one? I think, Martin, it's a case of... It's the biggest fight in the welterweight division, isn't it? Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. I do feel Crawford wants to fight and Errol Spence wants to fight, but Errol Spence doesn't want it yet. And as far as Manny Pacquiao is concerned, listen, you know, he's the wrong end of his career right now, but he's still proving that he's about that life. Okay, he's a fantastic fighter, even at his age right now. He's still proving it. But I do feel, though, that Manny Pacquiao, although to be honest, I think Manny Pacquiao probably brings in the big amount of money. But Bob Arum doesn't want Crawford and Manny Pacquiao fighting. I mean, he's shown that quite consistently. The reasons being, I don't know. I think it's a case of he didn't want either one of these guys to take a loss when Pacquiao was with him. But now he's over on the PBC. It might be a case of Manny Pacquiao, because he's a big name, he's probably going to be the A side in this one. and Bob Arum won't want Errol Spence to be the A-side. But I do expect Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao to fight, and maybe not next, but certainly before the end of the year. Anyway, that's my views on it, man. And last and certainly not least, Scarsy, I. Hope you're good, man. Who do you want to see Michael Hunter fight next? Povetkin was just too experienced for him. I mean, he's a likeable enough guy. Record didn't stand out too far, so maybe avenging his only draw will probably be nice before he hits 20 fights. I know he lost to Usyk, but that's different. Kettle of fish, with Usyk being mandatory to the WBO. Michael Hunter, I think Michael Hunter, he's really good. He's really, really good. I mean, he moved up from cruiserweight. Yes, he did take a loss to Usyk, but he gave Usyk all he could handle in that fight. He really did. And he had no shame in taking the loss to Usyk. He certainly didn't. But him moving up to heavyweight, again, you know, he's got some decent wins. Very decent wins. Ustinov is a decent win considering the amount of fights that not only has Michael Hunter had, but certainly the amount of fights that he's had at heavyweight as well. And Ustinov wasn't really a bad scalp, but we did expect him to win that one. Win over Martin Bakole was probably the biggest shock of all. Martin Bakole is really good. Again, there were some moments that you could probably say, well, Martin Bakole wasn't on his top form, and obviously with like the shoulder injury and all that kind of stuff as well. But either way, Michael Hunter, he gets the win over Martin Bakole. Martin Bakole is somewhat of a lower end boogeyman. Some of the up and comers, some of the prospects like a Daniel Dubois and guys like that don't seem too keen on fighting Martin Bakole. Although I am hearing that Martin Bakole versus Filip Hrgović could be on, so that'd be very interesting. But as far as Michael Hunter, who could he fight next? A rematch with Povetkin would be good, because I do feel that Michael Hunter just edged that fight. I think that Michael Hunter just about won it. But I know a lot of people are quite happy with the draw, and a lot of people also believe that Povetkin won that fight. So I'm not going to argue too much with it. I mean, I've only watched it the once, and at the time I thought Michael Hunter just edged it. But he showed a lot of heart in it, and he showed that Povetkin is still of an elite level. But a draw? Yeah, I'd like both of these guys to rectify that situation. So for me, if I was to pick anybody for Michael Hunter, I would say Alexander Povetkin. Well, I heard that Michael Hunter, he called out somebody recently, but I forgot who it is now. It was quite a decent name. Was it like Big Baby Jaron Miller or something? No, I don't think it was. But yeah, that kind of opponent, I think a Povetkin, maybe Hunter versus a Hughie Fury. That would be an interesting one. Why not? A rematch with Bakole, maybe. Why not? Yeah, I think those kind of levels. I think that kind of fight for Michael Hunter. I don't think he's ready, and he shouldn't be taking a Dillian Whyte fight, a Fury, a Wilder, a Joshua. I don't think he should be looking at those kind of fights yet. Certainly not this year, but the start of next year, yeah, he should certainly be looking at those guys. But right now, yeah, a fight with a rematch with Povetkin or Ortiz. I think that'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Or a Kaunaki or something like that. Anyway, that's my thoughts. So that's all the questions from the channel members. I said not everybody asked a question, and that is cool. But thank you very much for those of you who did, and big up to everybody else who's a channel member. Again, if you're not a channel member and you want to look into it, link in the description box, and I'll put it as a pinned comment in this video as well. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and thanks very much for your questions. Catch you all next time.